Rockwall is a little east of Dallas, and it is perhaps best known for its subterranean rock wall. But there is a relative newcomer on the block that may become even better known. It's the Yahoo Cake Company, a business dreamt up one night by longtime garment salesman Jim Head.
I had a dream about the recipe. Last year I was in the clothing business as a traveling salesman and dreamed the recipe and got up and made the cake. And a friend of mine came down and wanted to know what I was going to call the product, and I said, I have no earthly idea. And he says, well, you ought to call it the Yahoo cake. And I said, why the Yahoo cake? And he said, well, this cake is so good that every time somebody eats it, they'll shout, Yahoo! And I said, gosh, that's dumb. But it stuck.
Jim is not alone in this. His wife, Judy, is very active in the business. She was glad to get him out of the kitchen at home.
It's pretty difficult when your kitchen is taken over by the man in the house. Let's put it that way. And there's no room for you to make the dinner because he's got cake pans all over everywhere and he's experimenting. And so I was really thrilled. I think that I really didn't want him to go into the business. But I think that when he said he could get out of my kitchen and go into a nice little area to do his cakes, I think I was satisfied.
Jim and Judy became good friends with Edie and Lindy Barton a few years ago, and while Jim was agonizing over clothes and cakes, Judy was doing a little agonizing of her own with Edie. Lindy wasn't even entertaining a thought of leaving the life insurance business that he'd been in for 30 years. But the two couples decided they'd be good partners, and they were right.
We seem to work together very well. We seem to have found areas for each of us to fulfill, and therefore we haven't found it necessary to overlap in the business. Jim does the selling, and I seem to stay around and see that things run here in the office and in the back. And the girls put out the catalogs, and Judy basically helps to supervise the office. So we have all found areas that we all fit in, and we've tried to stick to those basic areas.
The Heads and the Bartons made great strides in their first year and a half in business, moving from a little 340 square foot building into a 3,000 square foot one. They employ several people, and they make and market other things besides the chocolate chip, cherry, and pecan cake. They also make the Yellow Rose of Texas lemon almond cake and Buffalo Bill chip cookies. But the cake they call the Yahoo is the leader of the line, and in spite of all the put-on that goes with it, they are serious about it.
I don't mess with dreams. I just get up and do what they tell me to do. That's the first dream I've ever had about cooking a cake. We try our darndest to bake them up about as moist as possible. But sometimes people like them a little bit drier. So if they like them drier, what we suggest is that they stick this sucker out in the sun for 3 or 4 days and let it dry out. I think that this is the only state in the Union that I can envision that you could bake a cake in the shape of the state and have it sell. I really can't think of any other one. You know, Oklahoma looks like a meat hatchet.
Hello? I'm calling from Wisconsin. I read your ad in the McCall's magazine, and I'm calling about ordering a cake. My number is...